Nobara is still alive, as she has the most important role in the story left, causing the death of Sukuna. Yes, Nobara's cursed technique is total hacks, making it the final key in bringing down the King of Curses, where she will be the one to create an opportunity for Yuji to finally give Sukuna a taste of his left-right good night. Now, you might be wondering to yourself exactly how this will happen. Well, that's because her ability can actually harm the soul. This was foreshadowed in a fight against the special grade curse Mahito in chapter 125, heavily injuring him with this broken ability, even forcing Mahito to admit that aside from Yuji, she was also his day one. But the biggest foreshadowing to this is in chapter 222, where Sukuna said that his last finger was hidden by Satoru freaking Gojo himself. This finger will be the downfall of Sukuna with the help of Nobara, together with Yuji and Megumi. Everything will come full circle with these characters, where Gege has depicted his favourite theme of loneliness throughout his series, and each of them has their own answers on how to live with it. Sukuna is the embodiment of true solitude and the strength that can come from it. However, the teamwork between our gang is what will prove his jujutsu is a lie. And in all of this, Nobara will be the nail in the coffin to finally bring it to light. While she was fighting Mahito, Nobara came across a clone of the cursed spirit in a nearby alley, quickly recognizing him as the patchwork face curse. As she already knew that Mahito's power impacted the soul, she carefully avoided his hands whilst trying to attack him. Thus, she engaged in the ferocious fight with Mahito's double, but what's crazy is that she managed to injure the original as well. Now this is massive, because Nobara is the only person other than Yuji or Sukuna who could hurt Mahito. Basically, by hitting a nail directly into the double's head and activating resonance, the original Mahito's soul would receive the impact. Without even touching Mahito, Nobara managed to use his double as a medium through the same technique she hurt Choso's brothers with. After this, Mahito himself admits that Yuji isn't his only natural enemy, as the Girl of Steel can attack his soul as well. What's more, Nobara had also concluded that unlike the original, Mahito's double could not use idol transfiguration on others, making him a very easy target for her. This drove Mahito to an insane idea of killing two birds with one stone, literally. He suddenly started running towards his double in order to swap places with it for two reasons. One, to take advantage of Nobara being off guard about his ability, and two, to kill her in front of Yuji to crush his soul. Yuji realized the danger a bit too late, and Nobara ended up taking a direct hit on the face from Mahito. This ultimately was the catalyst Yuji needed. Even though Megumi was just as close to him, Nobara understood him at a deeper level. She openly cared about Yuji, something that means a lot to a person who is destined to die. Losing Nobara to his worst enemy as well, after already witnessing Nanumi's death, left a deep wound on Itadori. His resolve completely shattered, and he found himself unable to continue fighting further. He simply could not forgive himself because he had vowed to protect and save a lot of people, but he kept killing innocents and losing his loved ones. Against their wishes, however, Yuji was entrusted with a curse to carry their wills out, accept his true self, and take on their share of suffering. He did not need to look for meanings in their death, as Todo stated. But is Nobara really dead? Of course not. She's one of the OGs. Plus, there are also a few clues to Nobara coming back. Number 1. In chapter 124, Mahito himself states that he couldn't even kill Nanami with just one hit, wondering what would happen with Nobara. And number 2, we did not see the wound on Nobara's face fester, as she covered it with her hand until it burst open in chapter 126. People in the community even theorized that in order to stop the attack from actually killing her, Nobara inflicted an injury onto herself, taking the small chance of maybe surviving through this method, as she knew how Mahito's technique worked. It's not an out-of-the-box idea, because Todo also cut off his hand to stop idol transfiguration from spreading in chapter 133. And then lastly, number 3, the final reason for Nobara coming back is in chapter 127. Arata Nita, a first-year student at Kyoto High, states that he had finished treating Nobara, and even though she did not have a pulse, nor was she breathing, she was not 100% dead. Nita took her and withdrew to get her more treatment because he felt that there was still a chance to save her, as it hadn't been too long since she received the wounds. He literally stated healing her isn't impossible and it's not a 0% chance. This means her survival depends on whether she has brain damage or not, because Nita's ability prevents decomposition and stops injuries from getting worse. Now, if you guys want to learn more about how Sukuna will lose, then make sure to watch this video on Yuji's soul swap ability.